I would be remiss not to show you this. Welcome back to our alphabet series. I'm Melody. Welcome to my channel, Making Melody Crafts. Today we're on the letter R and we're going to be doing some rubber stamping today. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up button if you like this video. That way you'll hopefully be notified of any content that I have coming up. And let's get started. Alright, we're down at the craft table. Today we're going to chat about rubber stamps. They come in many different sizes, teeny tiny ones like this to very large like this one. And that's a huge floral stamp. And today I'm going to show you how to assemble them, store them, stamp them, and clean them. So let's get right into it. When you purchase rubber stamps, sometimes they're going to come already put together on whatever that the manufacturer chooses to put them on, typically wood blocks. But sometimes they come not assembled. There's a couple of things I want you to know about this because if you do, your stamping's just going to come out better. This stamp is from Stampin' Up! And they come in 3 parts. So you have the stamp itself, the wood block, and then the sticker. If the wood block has any rough edges, grab an emery board or a little piece of sandpaper and just kind of sand that down so you don't get any splinters. And then the sticker. So you're going to want to position that fairly straight. If you purchase a rubber stamp and it's not trimmed really close to the image itself, you're going to want to do that. If you don't, when you stamp it, you're going to get some overstamping and that can really mess up a project and mess up your card. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either use an X-Acto knife or something similar or a pair of scissors. They do have very specific scissors for this that really help just trying to get the, trying to cut through the rubber because it's not easy. And then underneath the rubber itself, there's usually some squishy foam as well. And then the sticky side. When you trim this, when you cut this down, you can save all of these pieces because you can use them on a card to kind of pop something up and give it some dimension. I'm going to go ahead and use these scissors. I would trim this to about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. Really, 1/4 of an inch is a little bit better away from the image itself. You want enough of the stamp and the rubber to remain so that it sticks on that wood block or on the acrylic block. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now that piece is all trimmed down and now it's ready to put on our wood block. If the stamp that you're using has any letters or words on it, it's really important that you know which way it's going so that you have it right side up. So I'm going to put the stamp on here to make sure that it corresponds with the actual umbrellas that are on the sticker. So I see this umbrella over here has flowers and the flower on this one is right here. So I'm going to tip it upside down. If you want to, you could lay it down on a grid or just put it down on a table and then do that. I prefer to do it this way so that I can really see exactly where I'm putting it. And I'm just going to try to center it here. When you stamp the image, which we'll do in a little bit, it really makes a difference if the sticker's in the right place and it's directly underneath or on top of the stamp itself. And I'll show you why in a little bit. Number 2, now we're going to talk about storing them. Preferably store them out of sunlight and out of extreme heat. And as far as your storage and organization, what I like to do, I hope there's not a huge glare here, but what I like to do is use one of these binders that was for, photographs, and then I stamp out the image on a little index card, and then I write any details about the company that I want to know. And then the rubber stamp itself, if it's not on a wood block, I use the Aliens Tack It Over and Over, which is a repositionable glue, and I have a video all about glues that I'll link here. And then I put this on the outside and then I can just peel them off when I'm ready and I have the image right underneath and all the details about it. So that's my binder system. Sometimes when you get these stamps and the blocks take up so much space, if you're limited on space, it's a great idea to just remove them. But if they're teeny tiny stamps, typically taking them off of the block isn't going to help you because it's really hard to get a good image with a tiny stamp. Next, we're going to stamp with them. There's 3 different ways you can do that, either on the wood blocks they come on an acrylic block, or if you don't have an acrylic block, if you have some sturdy plastic packaging, that will work and you can use it to stamp with, but you need to do that a specific way and I'll show you in just a minute. Alright, so I'm using this Kaleidocolor stamp pad. When you're inking it up, you should only need to tap it a few times if there's enough ink in the stamp pad or in the ink pad. So depending what image you had, if you just pushed here in the center, you're going to get a really great image where you pushed, but maybe not so great around the edges. So make sure to have even pressure and don't rock a stamp back and forth unless you actually have one of those things that is like, I think they call it a rock-a-block. And then if it's a really detailed image, push in each of the areas to make sure that you're getting the complete image. And you would need to hold it maybe, say 5 seconds, just to make sure that the ink has time to transfer from the stamp to the paper. And that's what we've got. It is so adorable. I love those umbrellas. So we're just talking about rubber stamps today. If you were using acrylic stamps, it's actually a little bit different. You don't need quite so much pressure when you use an acrylic stamp. Now we're going to stamp one that's on an acrylic block. Now I'm using an archival ink, which when you hear that, just think permanent because it is. And it's a dye ink, but it's oil-based, and so we'll be cleaning those up 2 different ways. So it's all inked up, and then if it's a little dry where you are, or say maybe it's winter, your heat is running a lot, just go ahead and breathe on it a little bit. I know it seems strange, but the moisture in your breath will really help to kind of activate that ink. This is where it really matters when you're putting an image. This used to be on a wood block, but when you're putting the image on the wood block, this is why it matters to have it straight, or to make sure that the sticker is as close as you can get to where the image is on the other side, because as you're pushing or as you have a design on your card, it's going to matter where it comes out. So that's that image. That stamp, it stamps beautifully. I really love it. If you're using a really large stamp like this, it's a lot easier to just bring your stamp or bring your ink pad right to your stamp. So just keep inking it up. And you know, when you ink up a stamp, you want to see that it's a little bit shiny. So when you look at it after you've stamped it, it should be shiny. It should reflect in the light a little bit. Okay, that is well inked up. I'm going to get a different piece of cardstock. And with a giant image like this is like bigger than my hand, you can also just put it down and then put your paper on top, and then holding it really still, push all over that image. All right, here's the moment of truth. And there's the image. This one is really beautiful. It's so detailed. I'll go ahead and show you this one. And this is just a little spritz of water stamp, like a little spray of water. So that's how that looks. And now I want to show you how to use the plastic packaging if you don't have the acrylic blocks. So I'm going to use the Stampin' Up! Color Summer Sun. I'm going to ink that up, and then just select where you want it and then push down. Oh, I jiggled it a little bit, but you get the idea. So if you didn't have an acrylic block, you could definitely use some sturdy plastic packaging. All right, now to clean everything up. So these 3 stamps were used with dye ink, and a dye ink is water-based. And if you used a dye ink or a pigment ink, you can clean that up with soap and water, a baby wipe. There's also stamp cleaners that you can spray onto a pad, and you can clean your stamps with that. This product is a dye ink, but it's oil-based, and this is the Ranger Archival ink. We used that for this stamp, so we're going to clean that with some hand sanitizer. If you had rubbing alcohol, that would work as well. And so I just go ahead and put a little bit of the hand sanitizer right on the stamp, and then just start kind of rubbing it in, and it will take the ink right off. The stamp manufacturer may say, you know, that's not recommended, don't do that. I've been doing that for probably 10 years now, and I haven't had anything happen to the rubber of the stamps. They clean up just fine, it hasn't damaged them, and they haven't deteriorated. I'm not making any promises there, so if you do that, do it at your own risk, but it has worked for me every time, so that's how I clean that up. And then with the dye inks that are just a water-based ink or your pigment inks, that is all you need is a baby wipe. There's, you know, you could also use like an old rag and then put maybe some liquid soap with that and get that wet. This works so well, so I just use the baby wipes, and I have eczema and I try to raise eczema awareness on my channel, so I prefer cleaning up a stamp. Look at that, isn't that amazing? I prefer cleaning up a stamp in a way that is, you know, more gentle on my hands. Because for me personally, the more I stay out of water, the better my eczema is. Now I want to show you, so I only cleaned about half that stamp, so I'm going to put the stamp back down. We're really into it now. I'm using my elbow. Push all over on that stamp. The area that I cleaned, here you can see where you can barely see anything, and this is the side I did not clean. I would be remiss not to show you this. So this is a way to clean up your stamps. Let me show you how it works. So this is Stampin' Up's stamp cleaner. I don't work for Stampin' Up, and this video is not sponsored by them, but this product is called Stampin' Mist. And then you would take the Stampin' Mist, spray it onto this surface, then take the stamp and just rub it on here. They are removable and washable as well. And then you can dry it on the other side, which is why one side will always appear dirtier than the other, and the other side looks cleaner. And the other one looks like this. It is also removable, and you can rinse them out. Then you let them dry and just pop them back in there. Well, this is made in USA. How cool is that? I searched online and tried to find the ingredients of this because that really matters to me as someone with eczema. What's the ingredients in the product that I'm using if it's going to be harmful to my hands because I do have sensitive skin. I wasn't able to find that, but you know what you could even do? A little bit of like, you know, some gentle kind of soap, like some liquid baby soap, Baby Magic, or, you know, whatever it is that you like to use. You could put that in a mister with a little bit of water and then spray that on. And I think that would be really effective as well to clean the stamps. And then the other side is just to dry them. This video has been so much fun, and if you've had some fun or learned something, please subscribe, and I'll catch you later.